If you'd said to me 6 months ago, you're going to read a novel about criminals and you're going to feel sympathetic, you're going to feel empathy towards them, I wouldn't have believed you. But I do. In this book, I have a lot of empathy for a lot of the things that go on. How open were they with you when they were telling you their stories?
Well, you never knew if they were telling the truth. And often I exaggerated the stories or took them in a certain direction. But in the case of It Can't Be October Already, the story of the Irishman who goes to prison every September and comes out in March, April. That was a true story. Obviously, I exaggerated it, and when you say you felt empathy, so did I for him. I thought he was a sad example of someone who the system had abused, someone who the system had let through, and the only way he could spend his life was to be out in the summer and inside in the winter, and that didn't strike me as right, but it was an interesting story to tell, because he was not a fool. He was better read than I was. He was typical of many Irishmen who they just are well read. They know their own poets, they know their own writers, and they've gone way beyond that.
Is it October Already? That's, of course, what we're referring to. And he was tragically found dead, wasn't he? Hypothermia.
Very sadly, he did not live beyond the age of 42, which, again, it's a comment on the system, not on Mr. O'Flynn.
No, it was. I did feel a great deal of empathy for him. How did you gain their trust? Because obviously, I mean, to your average criminal, if there is such a thing, you know, you're this politician, you're coming into their world, everybody knows who you are, you have this legacy. You know, how did you gain their trust?
Didn't always. Some people remained utterly silent, gave absolutely nothing at all, decided to give nothing at all. Others wanted to tell their story. And that's when, of course, you realized that a lot of it was being made up. Occasionally you'd get a different story, like Liam O'Flynn's story. You get a different story and you sit there and you think, well, maybe that's not the whole story, but there's such a gem there, I must write it.
And did you follow up when you came out of prison? Did you sort of follow up and do more research to find out whether these facts were... No, you just kind of...
No. I've remained in touch with two murderers who I visit quite regularly, because I think, well, one of them's doing a very successful educational course. He's done his O-levels, he's done his A-levels, he's done his Master of Arts. I attended his Master of Arts degree ceremony. A Bachelor of Arts, I'm so sorry. I attended his Bachelor of Arts degree ceremony. And he's now doing his Master of Arts. And I'm keeping in touch with him and helping him to do that.
Did you encourage him in any way to take that path?
Oh, yes, he was a bright man. There wasn't any doubt in my mind when I met him. He had a massive chip on his shoulder. He had a problem, but there wasn't any doubt in my mind that he was bright, and that if one could channel that energy and ability, I hadn't realized quite how focused he would be. He's been among the most focused human beings I've ever dealt with in my life. There is no doubt he will leave prison with a PhD. No doubt at all.
So you think that prison can reform people?
I didn't say reform, I said educate. I think he'll have more advantages if he leaves prison with a PhD. Obviously, he'll have better chance of getting a job, which so few of them have a chance of getting a job. He was certainly remorseful about his crime, and I suspect that, plus the education, a very different human being after 22 years will come out of prison.